Hi everyone, and welcome back to the next diecast. For today's video, I'll be showing you and reviewing this 1/18 scale Hummer H2 SUT made by Maisto. So I found this model on eBay for about $20. The previous owner actually found this in an abandoned storage unit that they had bought with other stuff inside the unit. And they listed it on eBay, and I got it for $20, as I said. It's in pretty good condition despite being, like, it was still inside its box, but the plastic, like the clear plastic, because it was a window box, like the clear plastic that's in the front and on the top of the box, that was gone. So it was just the cardboard and the model and the base. So it had been exposed to the elements a little bit, but the previous owner cleaned it up and everything, and it's in pretty good shape and everything, in spite of being in there for who knows how long before they found it. But Maisto discontinued this particular model back in 2012, and they also made the Hummer H2 like the regular version, the SUV. So these are very similar. It will basically come down to, do you want the H2 pickup or the H2, like the regular version? Each of them came in different colors, and their details are very similar, so this review could apply to both the pickup and the regular versions of Maisto's H2 series models. They call this the SUT concept, but the production version of the SUT was pretty much the same thing as the concept, maybe a couple like different buttons on the inside. And even on the bottom, it doesn't even say it's concept, it just says Hummer H2 on the bottom, but on the box it said it was the SUT concept. But again, they're pretty much the same thing. The only difference is that the bright orange version of Maisto's SUT model, that was what the concept vehicle actually came in. I don't think it was offered on the production version. This cool metallic green you see here, this was actually offered on the H2. I think on both versions, the SUV and the pickup. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the details of this model, because there are a great deal of them. So first of all, this model is the proper scale. You can see it's just massive. It barely fits into my frame here. A lot of times with these bigger SUVs or pickups, model manufacturers tend to underscale them just a little bit, but for this model, I think it's the right size and scale and everything. It's a bit on the lighter side, despite being such a huge model. My Chrysler 300 is actually far like heavier than this one in terms of overall weight. But overall, the scale and the proportions and everything are great. Maisto also makes the Hummer H1 and the AM General Humvee too, and they're all the right size. So if you're a fan of Humvees and Hummers, then Maisto is the brand to go to. They're sadly no longer making any of them in their current lineup, but they were made for such a long time that you can easily find them all on eBay and whatnot for generally cheaper prices, depending on like colors and styles and whatnot. So we'll take a look at the front here to start off with the details. I think Maisto did a great job with all the lights you see up front here. All of them are separate pieces. They all have their separate plastic lenses. There are pegs in all of them, but honestly, that's where the light bulb would be on the real light, so that's not that big of a deal. This chrome Hummer grill here looks pretty good overall. There is a bit of chrome fading already, but again, I said that this model was inside its box without like the without the clear plastic over it. So it did have some exposure to the elements, just a little bit. But the fading is not that bad. In fact, you can't even really see it too well on this camera, but if you're looking at it like with the naked eye, you can kind of see it a little bit better. They do a nice job down here with these tow hooks. One is a little bit loose, but at least they're both there. And these grills here are all done in mesh, but they're not like perforated, but at least they're textured to kind of seem like they're perforated. This grill up here on the hood is actually a functioning grill. You can kind of see into the engine there. Very cool. These two chrome handles here, they are on the real car, or the real truck, I should say, and they're made so you can actually open the hood like so. And on the AM General Humvee, it has similar kind of bars on the hood, but that's for actually so a helicopter can pick up the truck and carry it away. So Hummer kind of did the same thing with this truck, but they just made it kind of more like a styling thing than a functional thing. The paint quality overall on this model, I would say, is very, very well done. This metallic green looks really cool, especially paired with this kind of grayish-brown interior. But all Maisto's other colors on the H2, both the SUV and the SUT, all look very nice. I don't think they're all like metallic, but most of them are. But yeah, there's no orange peel or anything like that, and it's nice and smooth throughout the truck. Now just keep in mind that the roof on this model is made of plastic, and it will be made of plastic on all the other versions of Maisto's H2s as well. And all these lights up here are actually just painted on. They aren't like separate clear pieces or anything like that. Kind of lacking in detail, but it's not that big of a deal. And there's also some chrome fading up here on these roof racks, but you can easily just maybe paint them over with maybe silver. I don't know how to maybe like repair chrome. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, not too noticeable. And if you get this model new, you probably won't have any fading. This was all from just weathering and stuff like that. So taking a look at the side here, the wheels and tires are very well done, very beefy looking wheels and everything. And the suspension is also very good. You can see up here in the front too. And you also get a full steering too. Kind of cool to put it on a shelf like this with the wheels kind of angled out like so. The mirrors are nicely done. They're done in separate pieces. A little bit on the loose side, but they're not gonna like fall off or anything like that. And this antenna back here is a bit too thick. But these wipers actually look very nice. They aren't like too thick or anything like that, so Maisto did a good job with that. There's actually a second antenna up here. That might be for like the OnStar system, which is like a General Motors thing. So that's kind of a cool touch on there. On the back here, or actually, let's look at the door handles. They are separate pieces, but they're actually all chromed out. I don't think the real H2 should have completely chromed out door handles, but on here at least they're like separate pieces and not just painted on. We take a look at the back here. Nice Hummer inscription going across. This lift gate is plastic, and also it does not open, but it doesn't matter too much because you can actually see right into the bed back here. The bed has a nice texture to it, and overall seems to be the right size and proportions. Taking a look at the taillights back here, they're also very well done in separate pieces. There are small pegs on both of them, but they aren't too, you can't really see them too well unless you look like right at it. There are a couple of tow hooks down here. They're actually molded into the plastic bumper. Would have been cool if they were kind of separate and were actually kind of hanging down, but at least Maisto added them as kind of like a small detail. As I said, this doesn't open back here, and same thing on the SUV version. The hatchback doesn't open. It's just kind of like a plastic piece, but at least on the SUT pickup, you can actually see into the bed because you don't have like an opening, or because you don't have like a roof over it here. Now we'll take a look at the engine next, and the cool thing about this model was that it has these little plastic latches on the side here, because the real H2's hood actually is held shut by these latches. So they're kind of a hassle to open up, but once you do, you can actually pull open this hood here, which opens up in this direction. So we'll take a look at the engine in here next. Nice detailing for the most part. It is just kind of one plastic piece, but there is some, coloring and stuff throughout. It says something right there. I can't quite read it. There's a few labels and everything, but could use a little bit more detailing, I would say. At least the piece itself isn't loose. A lot of Maisto's kind of one-piece engines have the issue of being kind of loose, because when they're put in there, they aren't put in there too well. But on this one, you don't really see that. It's actually nice and solid. And there's that see-through grill a little bit there. You can kind of see it. Go ahead and close that up. And this one latch is slightly bent, but it came that way. But I can easily just bend it back if I wanted to. Then it just kind of fits into the hole, so if you spin it around. A cool thing about this model is that all four doors open. A lot of Maisto's SUVs and pickups that are four-door models, they don't always have the opening back doors. Their Porsche Cayenne, their Range Rover Sport, and their Jeep Grand Cherokee, they don't have the back doors that open. But on the Hummer H2 SUV and the pickup, they have all four opening doors, and that's very cool to see. The interior overall, I would say, is very well detailed, especially for a Maisto model from the early 2000s. We'll take a look at the door panels first. The back ones are kind of easier to see from here. But there's nice texturing and coloring overall. You can see that there's some silver trim down here, kind of a mesh-looking line over here, and kind of a leather pattern going across all the door panels too. You can see that there's some little finer details like these painted on door handles, and this kind of black looking carbon fiber texture up here. And these are actually functional door pockets too, so that's kind of a little cool touch that they put in there. All the seats look very, very nice. Overall, they have a very nice texture to them, and they are the right size and shape. They actually move a little bit too, and there are actually seat belts too. Same thing with the back seat here, just very well detailed. It looks just like the real seats and kind of feels like the real seats too. Of course, on the Highway 61 version of this model, this rear middle seat actually folds down, but on here, because it's a Maisto, it doesn't do that. But the details are very well done, nonetheless. There's even a little, there's even a console back here with like the vents and the, I think maybe some audio controls down there. So Maisto did a good job with that too. The buttons back here aren't really colored in, but at least they're on there in like the right shapes and everything. Go ahead and zoom out. And the detail gets even better when you look at the dashboard and the center stack. Just all the different textures on the dashboard. Those three-dimensional vents that literally just kind of pop out. And you can see all the buttons are actually painted on and labeled very nicely on the center stack here. You can't read a lot of them, but I mean, if you look at pictures, they do kind of like match up well to them. They also do a nice job with this shifter here too, with even that little pattern on the top of it there. And that pattern is actually on the steering wheel too. I doubt it's carbon fiber because this is a Hummer, but whatever it is on the real truck, and Maisto does a good job of kind of replicating that on this model here. We'll take a look at the other side of the interior too. Yeah, there's a better view of that kind of textured steering wheel. There's actually a Hummer inscription in the center with some buttons. It's actually a little bit of a different color in the middle. The middle of the steering wheel actually matches the interior, or the seat color, I should say. And all of Maisto's Hummer H2 models come with the same interior, same kind of brownish seats with like the black steering wheel. And they all look very nice with any of their paint colors, especially with this darker green on this model and the black version on the SUV version of this model. The pedals are nicely done as well. They're just kind of harder to see. I don't know if they should actually be matching the floor color, or if they may. I may actually go in there and paint them silver just to kind of add some detail to them. But they are the right shape and size, and they look good overall. Even on this side here, they do some nice detailing with these little buttons. I guess it's like the headlight controls and whatnot. Go ahead and close up these doors. The doors do feel a little bit weak. You can see here it like moves a little bit loosely, and their Ford Explorer Sport Track has that same problem. But as long as you're careful and don't open the doors too much, then it should be fine. I'm just glad that all four of them open. I think that's a really cool feature, and I was kind of surprised to see that when I first saw pictures of this model years ago. But I'm really glad to have it. This has been on my list for a while to get either the SUV or the SUT, and I'm actually glad I got the SUT because it's kind of a more like unusual version of the Hummer H2 series. The AC back here doesn't quite match up this door, but you can't really tell from afar distance. Oh, we'll take a look at the undercarriage too, since we're very well detailed undercarriage overall. Whatever this silver is, it is on the real truck, and it looks really nice. Kind of like webbing, it looks like too. But everything is done in like a three-dimensional piece, and multiple colors too. It isn't just all chromed out. Maisto actually did chrome, they did silver. There's some like lighter gray and some black detailing. One of their better undercarriages, I would say, definitely. Even some detailing with this like differential back here and stuff too. Very, very nice. If you can find any of Maisto's Hummer H2 models for a good price, I would say it's definitely worth getting. It's another, unusual vehicle from the 2000s. It didn't do so well in the long run, but I always thought these were kind of cool. And the pickup truck version, I would say, I would recommend more than the SUV version when looking at Maisto's models, just because on the truck you can actually see into the bed back here, and it doesn't really matter that this doesn't open. On their SUV, the whole roof is plastic, and so is like the whole back part of the car. So on here you just don't have that because it's the pickup, so you don't have to worry about that lack of detail. But yeah, overall, these do go for sometimes steep prices on eBay, but there are occasional cheaper listings of both the pickup and the regular versions of the H2. And I would recommend their H1 and their Humvees too, just because they're all very well detailed and whatnot. Hope this review was helpful. As always, feel free to comment down below with your thoughts on this model and whether or not you have it, or if you want to get one for yourself. Thanks for watching.